Balos and Elafonisi are by far Crete's two most beautiful and iconic beaches. I've already made a video on Elafonisi, go and watch it after this one if you haven't already. So in today's video we're going to talk about Balos. Balos is a gorgeous lagoon with incredibly transparent water and this epic rock at the end of the beach. Balos is located at the northwestern tip of Crete, 2 hours away from Chania. And if we zoom in, that here is Balos, and that up there is GRAMVOUSA Island, which has this absolutely gorgeous beach. I'm mentioning GRAMVOUSA because the boat tour to Balos that I'm going to recommend in this video also stops there, but more on that later. First, let's see what your different options are to get to Balos. First option is to go there by car with your rental car, but there is a massive but to this. Be careful. The last 8 kilometers, so 5 miles, or this unpaved cliffside road without any railing. I've met tons of people on my own tours in Athens who had rented a car in Crete to drive to Balos, having no idea they would have to drive for 20 minutes on that super scary road. And they were all saying how if they had known about it, there's no way they would have gone there by car. And they would have booked a boat tour instead. And even if this scary road doesn't scare you too much and you plan to drive it, know that rental car insurances do not cover unpaved roads in general. That's a general rule in Greece. So if you damage the bottom of the car by hitting a few too many potholes, which of course that road is full of, you're going to have to pay for the entirety of the repairs from your wallet. It won't be covered. So think twice. So option number 2 to get to Balos is by boat, which is the much better option in my opinion. There's a port right here in Kissamos from where you have to sail for 1 hour to get to GRAMVOUSA and Balos. And Kissamos port, by the way, is 40 minutes by car away from Chania. Now, there are 2 types of boat tours you can go on. First, there's these massive boats, more like ferries, carrying hundreds and hundreds of tourists. They're cheap, but of course they're pretty packed as well. So I would only do that if you're on a budget. And if you want to book it, you can scan this QR code or click the link below the video. And by the way, this tour also includes the pickup by bus from Chania. So you don't have to figure out how to get to Kissamos port from your hotel. Now, if you have some more money to spend, then I would personally go for a much smaller group size on this gorgeous sailboat. That is, in my opinion, the best way to visit Balos and GRAMVOUSA. So let me explain how this sailboat tour operates exactly. The first stop is going to be GRAMVOUSA Island, where you're going to stay for 1 hour and a half. You can stay on the boat if you want and snorkel around it, but if I were you, I'd go to the actual island. There's a little dinghy boat, and so the captain can drop you off anywhere you want without you having to swim holding your stuff. Once you're on GRAMVOUSA Island, you can go and chill on the beach there. There's a few trees if you want to lie in the shade, and if you want, there's a really cool shipwreck just a few meters off the beach, and you can go and snorkel around it. That ship crashed there 60 years ago during a storm, and it was carrying bags of cement, which you can still actually very clearly see. Now, there's something else you can go and do during the 1 hour and a half you have on GRAMVOUSA Island, and that's walking to the top of this hill where Venetians built a fortress in the 1500s to protect themselves from pirates. That's actually why GRAMVOUSA Island is often referred to as Pirate Island. Not much of the actual fortress is left, but the view from up there is insane. So if you don't mind the slightly tiring walk uphill, totally worth going. By then, it's already around 2 p.m., which means it's time for lunch. Delicious homemade Greek food cooked on board. And by the way, throughout the entire tour, drinks are on the house, and that includes beer and wine as well. And after eating, we're headed to Balos. On that side, Balos has deep water where you can actually swim. On the other side, that's the lagoon with just a few centimeters of water. If you're into hiking, you can also walk up that rock from where you have a great view of the beach. And after spending 1 hour and a half at Balos, you're going to sail back to Kissamos port, which you will reach around 7 p.m. and that's the end of the tour. Now, where can you book this tour and what should you bring along on the boat? Well, this is the QR code you can scan to book it, or the link is down below as well. Regarding things you should pack, first of all, water shoes, ideally with pretty thick soles. Balos is a very rocky beach with all sorts of very pointy bits coming out of the rocks, and walking bare feet on that is pretty painful. If you plan on climbing to GRAMVOUSA fortress, then you'll also need to bring an actual pair of shoes because you can't do that with flip-flops. Definitely also bring your snorkeling gear since GRAMVOUSA and Balos have crystal clear waters, plus there's this shipwreck I talked about, and it could be a good idea to pack a sweater for when you're sailing back to Kisamos in the evening and it gets a little chilly. Now, sometimes I get the question, does it make sense to do both Elafonisi and Balos since they're kind of similar? And my answer is yes, absolutely. These are the two most beautiful beaches in Crete, maybe even in all of Greece, so you don't want to miss out on either one. Plus, the actual tours are completely different from one another. To get to Elafonisi, you're driving through the mountains on a bus, visiting the wonderful Hagia Sophia cave, and then chilling on Elafonisi's glorious pink sand beach, while Balos is a boat tour, not a bus tour, where you go to GRAMVOUSA as well, and you can do all the hiking stuff. You have a lunch on board. So yeah, it's a completely different experience, and that's why I think it's worth doing both. And by the way, if you want more information regarding my guided tours in Athens, this is my Instagram page. Now, going to Balos is typically something you do if you're staying in Chania. So if you watch this video, I guess you're staying in Chania. But if you're also planning to stay for 1 or 2 nights in Iraklio, so Crete's other big city, then the must-do tour over there is the archaeological site of Knossos, and I explain all of it over here. And for Santorini's must-do tour, in case you're going to Santorini as well, you can watch this video. And there you go. That's it for today. Hope you liked it. See you in the next one. Bye.